Hello, dear colleagues and friends. My name is Nebojša Janićijević. I'm coming from Serbia, from University of Belgrade Faculty of Economics. Today, I will present my paper on the title Managing Organization and Workforce during the crisis caused by COVID-19 pandemic. First of all, I will say something about the purpose of the research. In this presentation, I will present the result of the research on changes in organization of companies in Serbia caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. The aim was to investigate how companies have adapted to new conditions in which working from home has dominated and what are the reactions of employees to this. The COVID-19 epidemic in Serbia began in March 2020 and continues to these days. Fortunately, these days, Serbia is in the first place in the world in the number of newly infected per million inhabitants. With a population about 7.5 million, Serbia has between 7 and 8,000 newly infected every day, as well as about 50 deaths. Immediately at the beginning of the pandemic, strict quarantine measures were introduced, and many companies switched to the working from the home. Although the measures were then later significantly mitigated, working from the home remained the most important form of work organization whenever possible. Scope of the research. The research focused on the question how companies carried out the work from home, what changes took place, and how the employees reacted to that. The research included 16 companies and 186 employees in them. The companies were from very different sectors, but what they had in common was that they had a more or less present work from home. Data were collected in the period of May-June 2021, and data collection was done through interviews as well as on online survey. Here you can see the structure of the sample according to age, according to sex, according to education and organizational position. Very interesting is that the most of employees in our sample was working from the home for 12 months, actually, which is very good for our sample and validity of our data. First of all, we'll say something about organization of work from home. Our research shows that organizations actually lacked the support for their employees. There were no support for equipment for working from home and support for maintaining mental health. Respondents in our sample used the computer as a primary means of work. They covered cost of work from home themselves. They thought that it was justified due to the temporary nature of this new situation, which is actually not so temporary now. Most of respondents did not have a separate workspace, and worked at the dining table with the constant presence of other members of their families. And employees generally did not have any training regarding the transition to the work from home, and they pay the cost incurred during the work from home. Companies didn't pay so much attention to whether any employees have children or not, and they didn't try to meet employees on that. Most employees flexible day and achieved a balance between work and their private life. Uh, about organizational structure, we'll say something about unit grouping, division of labor or specialization, delegation of authority, communication, leadership, and so on. What concerns about unit grouping? Due to the frequent illness of workers in the past year, permanent transfers of workers were carried out, new teams were established. In the private sector, actually, some organizational units were disappeared, some have been interconnected, just reducing their number. In some of the observed companies, the number of employees was reduced. Those who kept their jobs received more new responsibilities, and in some, the number of managers were even reduced. In public enterprises and institutions, on the contrary, pandemic did not lead to significant changes in the organizational structure. Employees kept their jobs with a slight expansion of their duties. In the condition of working from home, the need for coordination was increased, and the coordination of employees was intensified. The coordination mechanism in the period of work from home that has gained special importance was plans, procedures, online meetings, telephone conversations, and mails. As far as specialization or division of labor was concerned, in most organizations, actually working from home did not affect the division of labor and specialization. In 75% of cases, the existing division of labor was retained, but the employees received some new responsibilities. Delegation of authority was changed in the way that the level of autonomy of employees in performing their activities has increased. So employees gained some new authority to decide about how they will perform their tasks, which is quite normal and logical. As far as the leadership is concerned, leadership is in working conditions from home due to the COVID-19 is extremely important. Employees want decisions to be made at the top and to reach only those information that is important to them. This could be explained by the fact that Serbian national culture has a very high power distance, according to Hofstede, and it's actually authoritarian culture where employees usually expect that all decisions will be made at the top, and that they will receive clear guidance how they behave, how they have to behave. So this actually has not been changed in this period of time we researched. And the employees need the support of leaders, discussion of mistakes and problems, as well as frequent meetings in online forums. According to the respondents, a leader did not sufficiently adapt to their leadership style to the new situation. More intensive communication was needed than before pandemic. About communication before COVID-19 was mostly direct live communication, and it has better opportunities for learning and development due to direct and comprehensive explanation face to face. But communication during COVID-19 pandemic was mostly indirect online communication, and it as a consequence had a difficulty in learning due to rare discussion and indirect communication. Productivity, as many as 50% of respondents stated that they could not assess whether they were successfully performing their tasks while working from home. They also state that they do not have a clear picture of the criteria performance while working from home. From respondents who can evaluate their performance, 50% of them point out that they do more from home than when they are in the office. 33% think that there is no difference, while 17% think that the change has negatively affected their productivity. Over time, productivity actually declines due to declining motivation of employees to work from home, as well as due to the reduction of work intensity caused by perception of lack of direct control by management. Here are some advantages and disadvantages of working from home according to answers of our respondents. First, something about the advantages of working from home. Working from home enables flexible working hours, better balance of private and business obligations, and that was something which was very nice for our employees working from home. They can make this balance between private life and their career in much better way than before. A greater possibility for employees to spend more time with their families and closer family relationships, which is in Serbia culture very important because we are very collectivistic culture. Increased autonomy at work, greater opportunity for experimentation, finding new ways of working is also advantage. Uh, Also, absence of strict control, a sense of independence of every employee, comfort of working from home. Some said that I can work in my pajama. There is no waste of time around usual morning preparations of work. There is no waste of time in transportation. Cost of clothes and shoes, makeup, hairstyles are lower. And also, there is a less fear of infection because people are at home, not in transport or in the office. But also, disadvantages of working from home are very important. Some of them are here. Loneliness, especially among members of small organization, desire for a cup of conversation, which could not be met, decreased motivation, desire to learn and improve to the lack of direct contact with the colleagues and superiors. Employees with children, especially mothers, find it difficult to work due to the presence of children and their needs. Actually, there are general distractions at home. It is harder to strike balance between work and leisure, a room that becomes both place to work and place to rest, feeling that you are constantly at work. Some respondents said, I don't work from home, I live at work. Increased feeling of worry and stress, depression, anxiety. Employees do not have opportunity to leave the house, even because of the trip to work. Loss of sense of belonging to the organization and team cohesion, a lack of team building. And also there were some nutritional changes and some respondents said that they actually are gaining weight. Here you can see on this picture well-being at work from home. And you can see that the percent of employees which actually were cheerful and in good spirit and also calm and relaxed. And you see that a quite high percentage of respondents said that actually were feeling very good in working from home. Respondents' general attitudes about working from home. Most respondents had believed that their organization have adapted to the changed working conditions over time. The majority of the sample, 87.5%, considered that the organization of work from home in their organization was a successful organizational response to the challenges of the pandemic. But it is perceived as a forced and short-term solution. So most respondents express desire to return to the office after the end of COVID-19, of course, because the office is a place to work, to meet with colleagues, space for realization of teamwork. Younger respondents were in favor of hybrid model as combination of more working days in the office and fewer working days at home. And you can see this in this picture that actually more respondents were for reducing or abolish work from home than those who are in favor of work from home. And that's be all. And thank you for your attention.